What are the most effective forms of data to drive your instructional decisions? We're talking about that right now. Hi, everybody. I'm Lee Hall from Literacy Teachers, and I'm all about giving you the tools you need to inspire, motivate, and change how students read and write for academic success. So, today we're talking about how you can use data to drive your instructional decisions. And as you know, there are many different data points that you can draw on from your students, but they're not all equally effective when it comes to making instructional decisions. So, which data points are the most effective when it comes to making instructional decisions? First of all, formative assessments are going to be incredibly useful. Now, when we're thinking about formative assessments, we're thinking about things like exit slips, quick writes, right? Not the big cumulative tests and projects that you do at the end of the unit, but just the little stuff that you do on the fly to sort of understand either how students comprehended text or to get some insight into how they go about composing them, right? So these kinds of assessments, these formative assessments, give you a more nuanced and in the moment view. They can really help you understand what students are confused about, what they learned really well with a particular lesson or over the day. They can also help you understand what students see as being more or less important. So formative assessments, when you're making your instructional decisions, they are incredibly helpful because it's really going to help you understand where things need to be fine-tuned more and where you might need to go back and revisit or extend on some lessons to help students master the skills that they need. Now, summative assessments give us a big picture view. They can also be helpful. Now, with a summative assessment, and I'm distinguishing between that and a standardized test. I'm saying for a summative assessment that this is it could be a paper that students wrote, it could be a video that they created, it's some kind of cumulative project, or it could be a formal test that you've created that they're taking. And it gives you a bigger picture. It helps you see how they've taken all of this information that you've helped them learn over a period of time and how they, how well they understand it or how well they can use those skills and strategies within a particular context. So that can also be very helpful to you as well. Obviously, right, it sort of helps you know how students got through that section of your class and what they did not understand. And again, what kinds of help they're going to need going forward. It doesn't give you the nuanced drill down, right, view that formative assessments provide, but it still provides something that's very useful. Now, standardized tests, even though they can be considered a type of summative assessments, because they, occur, at the end of the year typically, right, or there's some sort of big culminating event for them, they're often less useful, okay? So often, standardized tests are given at the end of the year. It really leaves you little time to respond. So in terms of, you can use standardized assessments to sort of help you understand where students ended, or if you look at their assessments, their standardized test scores from the previous year, where they're starting, maybe, right? You can get a little bit of a sense of where they started and where they've ended, but it's not going to help you too much with your instruction because if you're giving these standardized tests at the end of the year, then there's very little that you can do to respond and help. So it's going to be more of the formative assessments, this day-to-day, right, data that you're collecting, and alongside some summative assessments that you are giving strategically throughout that are going to help you the most, okay? Now, once you've got some data points, what you want to do is you want to analyze them to look for patterns. So while you could take something like an exit slip or a quick write or some kind of a test or a project, and you can analyze it to see what students do and do not know, what a particular student does or does not know. What you can do when you've got multiple data points is you can look across them to see how many students need help on any given skill, all right? So for example, in middle school, one of the things that I always had to teach was how to write complete sentences. I had to teach students how to understand what a sentence fragment was, how to identify it, how to correct it. And the same thing with a run-on sentence, how to understand what it is, identify it, correct it, all right? So if I've got formative data and I've got summative data, I can look at that and see how well are my students doing at being able to write complete sentences, okay? And if I do see that they have an incomplete sentence or a run-on sentence and I point it out to them, how good can they, respond to that and fix it so it becomes a complete sentence. So you can take a skill like that and look across your data points and say, look, is it just a couple of students that really need some more refined help with this? Do most of my students master this, or to what degree on this continuum do more or less students need help? So once you've got multiple data points around a particular skill, then you can really hone in your instruction even more by pulling students out to work with them within groups that need more help to master a particular skill. Okay, so you always want to not just collect the data, obviously, but then you want to diagnose it to look for areas of weakness that the data highlights, and then you can, from there, craft your instruction to respond to those needs. So if you like this video and you want more, we're going over to the next one.